What is going on, everybody? Another edition of the Saturday Night Tailgate. I got two usual culprits. I'm Clayton Garrett. Of course, joining me as always, Mookie Hawkins. Mookie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. You know, game day on the clock, baby. It's always good Saturday night.
Yeah, man. It's all you always got the blood pumping through your veins. Blood pumping through the veins. The always Jack Giant Mario Granata of hashtag sports. Mario, how's it going?
Jack Giant. Well, I'm excited for the game tomorrow, but I'm not too excited about what's going to happen after the game. So if you've been following hashtag sports, I have a little bit of Bills Mafia initiation to do tomorrow. So
yeah, I hope you've been stretching, man. I heard about it. I caught wind about that.
He might not look as old as he is, but he's gonna sure feel it on Monday.
Oh, this is true.
Our guest tonight, Willie G. Ramirez, an AP sports writer for the Las Vegas Raiders. Willie, thank you for sparing your time tonight to give the Bills Mafia the best Raiders coverage that they can find anywhere.
Now hold on. Absolutely. Now, that's Willie OGG. All right, Willie OGG. Right
you see, me and Mook, we ain't even met in person. He already knows what's up. He already knows to throw that OG up in there. What's up, fellas? I appreciate you having me on. You know, I'm just driving through the city right now, actually through old parts of Las Vegas, getting ready to meet up with a couple of fellow Las Vegas Raiders media, some colleagues of mine, Vic Tafur from The Athletic and Paul Gutierrez from ESPN. We're going to hit up one of the oldest school restaurants in Las Vegas. You talk about an OG, Jerry Tarkanian, the late, great Jerry Tarkanian, used to go to this restaurant after every home game dating back to, the 80s, called Piero's. And for those of you fans of De Niro and Pesci, it was the restaurant that was used. So anyway, that's where I'm headed right now. But got the phone set up on the windshield and glad to join in. I appreciate you having me aboard.
Yes, sir.
Of course. We appreciate you giving us your time tonight. Now, this is a really interesting matchup between the Raiders and Bills because going into it, I kind of felt like the Raiders have kind of been an inconsistent team, hot and cold. And I think that's very much so been dependent on the injuries that have really struck the team in the various positions that, you know, because this team has been rattled by injuries, absolutely rattled by injuries. How do you feel kind of the complexion of that team in its entirety has really changed given how the injuries have affected the team and what they're able to send out there on Sundays?
Well, I think we're going to find out this week realistically because I think the injury bug is really striking them hard this week. And the problem is that the injury bug that's hit them, they have Henry Ruggs is out, but the problem is their defensive injuries is where I think it's going to affect them. When you have a guy like Josh Allen that's coming in, and you got to remember, I've been covering Josh Allen to an extent when he was at Wyoming in the Mountain West Conference, so I know what he's capable of doing. I've always known what he's capable of doing. While everybody's been playing the hate card on this kid, I think that's where we're gonna find out this week exactly the impact that it's having. I don't know necessarily if last week is an indicator of injuries or they just were making critical mistakes, in New England. And I just lost you again, guys, but I'm recovering.
That's
Here
what
we
the
go.
tailgate is all about, Will. That's what the tailgate is all about, baby.
It's you know what? It's like there's mustard thrown all over the contraption, and it just slipped, just like I was in the Bills in Orchard Park. Just a bunch of mustard jumped off in the table.
Oh, man, don't remind my man Mario of that. It's too early for him.
But so yeah, I think this week is a good indicator as far as the Raiders overcoming adversity and responding with its resiliency with what it's got. Now, that being said, I'm somewhat confident in the offense. Josh Jacobs has done a great job. The receiving core, that's the big thing coming in this season, was the receiving depth. So, Nelson Aguilar's, Hunter Renfrow, they can step up and make some plays. It's a matter of Derek Carr, really, and what he does in the decision-making and the time that he has against the Bills' defense.
True indeed. Those are some major concerns, but before all of that, the charity event. Let us have it, because that's like been the biggest, story going into this week. What's really going on with the charity event, and how serious it is pending what's really going on out here in the NFL today.
Well, here's the thing. First off and foremost, very good, going out in the community, being held at this exclusive country club in Henderson, Dragon Ridge Country Club. Darren Waller, we're all familiar with his issues and his past, which he's overcome. And so he wanted to do something in the community. They just happened to pick the wrong time of the year in season, in the middle of a pandemic, to hold this event. The Golden Knights, the hockey team, they've done a lot of stuff, and they generally do a lot of their stuff during the off season. Why they picked to do it when they did it, I don't know. So you have the Waller Foundation throws this event. I'm not sure if it was a per plate thing or the money that they raised was based off the memorabilia that they gave out. But bottom line is they raise over $300,000. You have this exclusive guests that are in the dining room, and at some point the MC introduces the Raiders, who come walking in. The only one wearing a mask is Darren Waller, all the way up to grabbing the microphone and speaking. When he spoke, he pulled his mask down. Other than that, nobody else had their mask on. So they come in, and then they're mingling, saying hi, glad handing everybody. They start doing $500-$600 footballs, autographed, Derek Carr's, firing them into the crowd. And then the big one for me was, if I had it on my timeline on my Twitter, Darren Waller's Foundation had videos posted on Instagram and Twitter, which they took down later that night, of someone winning a autographed Derek Carr jersey. And he walked it out to the person and handed it to him and took a picture standing right next to them with no mask on. So where their lapse in judgment was, I'm not sure. The press conference that Carr had this week was somewhat sketchy for all of us. I'm not buying it where, it's being overshadowed, the good deed. And it's a shame that we're overlooking for a minor point in the evening when we weren't having masks. Come on, man. You didn't have a mask on, and it's all over the video. It's all over pictures that it's already out there, even though the foundation took them down. You were not wearing masks. I would have more respect if he would have just said, we messed up. We didn't have our masks on. It was our mistake. We weren't really we got caught up in the moment for the event, which was a worthy event, and we screwed up. But instead, to bounce around and put it again, this is like the second time that we're hearing things where it's the media's fault and we're blowing things out of proportion. We're missing the point. I don't want to hear that crap. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. You know better.
Definitely know better.
We're in the middle of a pandemic. You've already been fined. Your coach has been fined. And now we have all these other cases that are up. So it's definitely a mess. I'm not sure if the league's going to do anything further in punishing. It wouldn't surprise me, and I'm actually surprised that they haven't yet.
Well, Goodell, he's just waiting. Especially with what has happened the past 48 hours with what's going on in New England and what's going on in Tennessee. Goodell didn't have time to talk about what's going on with the Raiders. He got some bigger things to deal with as far as COVID right now, but he hasn't forgotten. So he'll definitely get into the Raiders' pockets. They got all the money. I got that nice stadium out there in Vegas, man. And then hell, if Carr out there completing passes for 500 a whop, I wonder what was his completion percentage at that event.
Well, what's funny is one of the videos caught him overthrowing it, and it went into the curtains. And I think there was one person who had a video and said, 0 for 1 intercepted by a drape. So, and and here's the thing. Not that you don't know this going to the fundraiser, but if you think about this, where were they last week? At New England, where Carr is. Where Cam Newton just tested positive. And who do they got next week? The Chiefs, who are affected by the Titans. So you have, you think about, I mean, the Raiders are just continually caught up with this COVID situation.
Right.
Maskless John Gruden getting fined from the on the sidelines. Playing the New England Patriots, who now have a positive test. The Chiefs next week. It's just, I mean, the Raiders are at the center every single week, it seems like, and we're 3 weeks in. Tomorrow's week 4.
Gives a new meaning to what happens in Vegas, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I do for you. What happens in Vegas with COVID, don't stay in Vegas because that thing's going everywhere.
Oh, boy.
Man, you tell me, man. That's a big issue.
Willie, you were kind of alluding to, we were talking about the injuries and how they're impacting the Raiders. And I think one of the positions in which, I mean, you could really talk about most of their positions as far as these injuries, but one of the positions that really interests me, given how they choose to run the ball, how they choose to run their offense and use Brandon Jacobs, the injury to Trent Brown has really I'm sorry?
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, I must have misspoke. Apologies. So the injury to Trent Brown has now, it appears to be sidelining him for 3 weeks now. It was one calf. It was the other calf. He kind of came into camp out of shape. Can you shed some light as to what's going on with what was the formerly highest paid tackle in the league?
I wish I could, because we continually asked Gruden during training camp when we couldn't, when he wasn't out there at the start of, you can see him stretching it. I don't know about other teams, but the Raiders, once training camp was done, you could only see him. You could only see them stretching, and then they go to practice. You have to wait in the media facility. So I didn't even really bother going out there after training camp was done. But Trent Brown just never was around and kept asking, and Gruden was very evasive, which was odd to me. I felt like I was back covering the Golden Knights, because the NHL is the most quiet league when it comes to injuries. They don't tell you anything. They went from upper body, lower body injuries into a bubble in Edmonton, Toronto, talking about fit to play and unfit to play. So I feel like that's how they've kind of protected Trent Brown. So I honestly don't know what's going on with him. But what I do know is that with or without him, that's been one of the consistent positions as far as Josh Jacobs is concerned, because he's been running the ball well. He's creating opportunities for himself off of, a well-blocked line. There, he's looked good. His explosiveness is there. He gets past that first through the trenches. He gets around in. I think that's been over the 3 weeks after seeing Carr last week. I think after 3 weeks and a 2-1 start, Jacobs has probably been the most consistent player on offense.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, they are putting up points. They're definitely putting up 27 points. I don't know if it's garbage time or if it's, in game. For them guys to be putting up points, but it seems like something on the defense is definitely lacking. And then you have your top cornerback in Arnett, out with the thumb injury now. And then you got John Abram, who's dealing, with a shoulder injury. The Bills possess, probably the best trio right now in the NFL with Beasley, Diggs, and Brown. What are your concerns defensively with the Raiders?
Well, the defense, the secondary is the biggest concern, considering how well that Josh Allen's played and the immediate chemistry he's had with Diggs. I do know that Trayvon Mullen's been chirping a little bit, and he says that he's looking forward to the showdown with Diggs. Maybe he's looking at it as a challenge. Maybe he's looking forward. Maybe he's overconfident. I'm not sure, but I do know that he has said this week that he's definitely looking forward to that showdown with Diggs, and he hasn't said he's going to lock him up or made anything conclusive, but he's definitely made some intriguing insinuations that he's ready for that matchup. Overall, I'm definitely concerned that for the Raiders is secondary in how they're going to respond to Josh Allen. Again, I asked this to Sean Payton a couple of weeks ago before Monday Night Football, and obviously we're in a unique situation with COVID and the pandemic where you don't really have to worry about the players going anywhere. But you look at the NBA, you look at some of these, professional athletes. This is Las Vegas, and wondering, if they're intrigued. I know that the Saints stayed at the Wynn, which is right in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard. I'm not sure where the Bills are staying. the one thing I will say is Josh Allen has been here, so he's not worried about what Vegas looks like. I'm sure that the Bills are locked down in their hotels and everything, so I can't imagine that that's a concern. I just think that it's a matter of whether or not the secondary can do their job, come up with some big plays, because I think the Bills are going to do what they've been doing. And I think that on offense, the biggest concern for the Raiders is going to be if Carr can make the right decisions with a sort of a shorthanded receiving core. Like I said, the receivers that they still have, that's been the one benefit that they've talked about all preseason or leading up to the season was the receiving depth. Mm-hmm. So, Bills haven't necessarily – the one thing I will say this, the Bills are 3-0, but let's be honest here now. They beat the Jets. They beat the Dolphins.
Here we go.
And they were trailing the Rams and came back to win that game. Now they have to come all the way across the country, play in Las Vegas in that big stadium. There's no fans, so I guess that's a benefit. But still, I think that this might be, honestly, the biggest test, shorthanded or not. Speaking of the Raiders, this might be their biggest test so far in 4 weeks.
Absolutely, man. And to me, I'm still thinking that it's more in preseason mode. I think coaches are really still evaluating players. I mean, on our end, you saw that lineup change up front where Quentin Spain didn't start. You just paid Quentin Spain, 3 years, $15 million. And, you got Cody Ford playing left guard and Brian Winters playing right guard, So I still think that, these first 4 games, they count, but they still like in preseason mode as far as like getting a real true evaluation, getting continuity and gelling with that chemistry with, players that just been added to your squad. So, it's just like it can be a trap game. We still are in week 4. If you look at it, it's been a passing league. It hasn't been too much of a 100-yard running back, consistent, in the past 3 weeks, so it's tough to say on a week-to-week basis right now, but, as long as the Bills could learn on the fly and win at the same time, I'm cool with that.
I will say this, if the Bills come in here and handle business, whether they dominate or whether they just they win a tight game and pull it out, I think it says something. I think that this is, like I said, I mean, it's impressive. I think that, you have to ask yourself, did the Rams blow the lead or did the Bills come back? So this being on the road, again, traveling cross country, playing, I guess, East Coast, it's going to be 425 out there. So, I mean, I think that, like I said, this will be, out of the first 4 weeks, their biggest test, because the depth on offense, again, I think that the Raiders have no excuses. I honestly don't think that they can make any excuses with the offense, with the receiving depth that they have. The defense, yes, they're shorthanded, but you have John Gruden as your head coach. They've had all week to prepare. They knew the injuries going in. So, Gruden, he's one of the best coaches in the league. Let's face it. He's a veteran coach. Guy's got a ring. So I think the Bills. Like I said, the Bills, and I personally think that the Bills are going to come in and push the tempo. I think they're going to put the Raiders on their heels immediately. From a Vegas standpoint, I love the over in the game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because I'm not necessarily sold on the Bills' defense, only because their first 2 opponents, and then last week, the way they start off against the Rams. The Raiders are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder after the way they played in New England. Carr is going to be angry. Before the season started, he made the big proclamation that I'm tired of being disrespected. He admits that he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. So I do think that the Raiders offense will answer the bell when the Bills push the tempo. And that's why I like it to be a high-scoring game. So all you bettors up there, at the corner bars in Cheektowaga and Depew, I like the over.
Showing a little cheek to Vegas love right there. A little cheek to Vegas love right there, Mario. Stick about that.
He's the highest paid coach and one of the highest paid coaches in the league. I know that.
$100 million over 10 years, I'd take it.
I think anybody on this call would take it immediately. But here's one of the matchups that I wanted to ask you about, Willie, that we're not going to see, and I was so anxious to see it, and because of everything that's going on, we're not going to see it, is Bills Mafia versus Raider Nation. We're not going to be able to see that. What have you seen as far as the influx of Raider Nation coming from Oakland into Vegas? What have you seen from a fan base in that respect?
Oh, well, I can't compare the two because obviously this is the first year here, and I've never been to either. I've been to both cities, never been to an NFL game in Orchard Park or in Oakland. From what I could tell from afar, Bills Mafia might have them. And I have colleagues here in Las Vegas that were in Buffalo for a Raider game. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, that said that the Bills Mafia is one of the best scenes that they've ever seen for as far as tailgating is concerned. That said, Raiders Nation, phenomenal turnout for the Monday night game a couple of weeks ago. Phenomenal. They had tailgating across the street from the stadium. I pulled up 3.5 hours before the game. There were people in the parking lot just walking through, taking pictures. It was as if they were getting ready to go in, even though they weren't going to go in. So they've definitely staked claim to their new NFL team. I can tell you that the long-standing Las Vegas residents that have established favorite football teams from their youth days, whatever, they're not budging. You have the old pundits, if you will, in Las Vegas who didn't agree with the public having to foot the bill and tax money to pay for casino tax money to pay for the stadium. Even though the Raiders came out of pocket for X amount, they're not happy, so they just automatically are not fans. But overall, winning heals everything. We've seen that. We've seen that with UNLV when that's all we had. Saw that with the Golden Knights. Of course, that was a miraculous first season. And I think, if the Raiders contend, I think they're going to transform a lot of Las Vegas football fans into Raider Nation. But yes, there's a strong base, fan base already embedded here in Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. And it's just going to grow even more. Like I said, from what I saw that first Monday night, incredible turnout, people tailgating. And then you have, the local personalities from radio stations and TV showing up and doing live stints outside the stadium and everything. So, yes, it was an impressive turnout that first. So I'll be intrigued to see tomorrow. I'll be out there pretty early to go into the stadium. I'll be interested to see how soon they show up, because I know that tailgating fans show up pretty early for games.
Make sure you take some pictures, man. Send them right to me so I can see the craziness.
I will, and if I see any Bills Mafia people hanging around, I definitely will get some shots and tag you guys.
If you will, believe me.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mean that they won't be out there. I guess what I mean is I'm going to be out there 4 hours before the kickoff. So I get out
there, Willie. They're already there.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I'll be intrigued to see who beats who in terms of droves of fans to the stadium. Let me ask you this: before we had this pandemic, I have to think that, especially Bills Mafia, how many road trips were planned for this weekend? Like, hey, we're going to Vegas in October, baby.
That was sold out last year. Last year.
Don't remind me, Willie.
When they played Tennessee, they knew they was coming to Vegas last year. It was sold out already. Vegas is pissed off because they knew that Buffalo was coming to take that thing over. Now, they still floating around out there. They haven't stopped it.
I had
a few thousand. That's all, just a few thousand.
I had my suite at the Luxor already booked, man. It was crazy.
Right up the street. I'll tell you, I just got a text message. I got a few minutes here. They're about 15 minutes out, but I'll tell you real quick. You can Google this stuff. So you talk about the Luxor, and where in relation to where Allegiant Stadium is. When I was growing up in this town, and I came here in '72, the Luxor, Mandalay Bay, which are neighbors, there was nothing there. There was a casino there called the Hacienda. Red Fox was like a resident comedian there when he wasn't filming Sanford and Son, and he lived in Las Vegas. And past the Hacienda, there's nothing. No Mandalay, no Luxor, no Valley High Golf Course, no Town Square. There was nothing down Las Vegas Boulevard. And when I in the mid '80s, early '80s, mid '80s, they built a softball complex, the Las Vegas softball complex, and that was where you went to go play adult league softball back in the day. And across the way, on Las Vegas, across the street, there was an old school plaza, sort of like the one I'm sitting in across the street from Piero's right now. But there was a place called Mr. Deli. And we were in high school. The old man that owned it would sell us 12 packs of beer or 4 packs of Bartles and James wine coolers, because that was the big thing that all the girls liked. So you could go in there as a high school student, they would sell it to you. The guy would just sell us. Now, it's just all built up down there. It's wild. It amazes me at 51 years old, knowing that I was here at 3, just to see that. And there was an old show called Vegas, and the S was a $, and the private investigator in the show was Dan Tana. There's a TV station called Decades, and I have it automatically set to DVR that show whenever it comes on. I don't care what episode it is, what season it is, and I don't even pay attention to the storyline. I just love watching it to see all the old Vegas. I get a kick out of the nostalgia and the old, just when you could stand at the Caesar's Palace fountains and see all the way down to the Stardust. So you were staying at the Luxor, and I remember when that was a desert.
Right. That's when Joe Pesci was digging holes and stuff like that.
That's when the character he played was digging holes. Yeah, I remember when Pesci and De Niro were filming that, and the restaurants they would frequent, and there was there was a gentleman's club that him and De Niro would hang out. It was Club Paradise, and they would go in there a couple times a week. And I was in there, and they were in there, and they had it sectioned off. And I went up there and I asked both of them to autograph a $100 bill, because I have $100 bills autographed by different people. I try to collect hundreds. If I have a $100 bill on me, I asked them to, and they declined, and they thanked me though, because they said, "Wow, or De Niro said, he goes, I've never had anybody ask me to autograph a $100 bill." He goes, "But I would look like a fool and an asshole." Oh, am I allowed to say that? Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
sure. Tailgate, Saturday night, baby.
Just don't say the F word. You're cool.
What's that? Don't say the F word?
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can't say.
Yeah, he said, no, he goes, "I would look like an asshole if I signed it after turning down so many offers to do requests for autographs." And I said, "No problem." He goes, "But I don't think I ever read that." And then we were all leaving at the same time, my crew, and they happened to come out, and their valet was pulling their car up, and they thanked me. They were really cool, but they hung out at the old school joints in town. They were, great guys. I mean, great. I mean, they just, there's another place called Vesuvio. The guy that owned it, his name was Joe Pignatelli. They called him Joe the Pig. And Joe the Pig, Joe Pesci, and Paul Anka were going to put together, they were all going to patent these special meatballs. And that never came to fruition, but Pesci would be seen in there 2-3 times. They would eat at Vesuvio, they'd eat at Piero's after filming. So,
got to check that out when I'm down there now.
Yeah, you guys, we got to get Buffalo, we got to get the Bills back here on a non-pandemic situation and get the Saturday Night Tailgate going from Vegas, and get you guys all set up and take you around to see some old nostalgia. There's definitely still, even though it's all built up into a resort city, a resort Las Vegas Boulevard, there's still some nostalgia around this town.
Nostalgia. I feel like these two fellas that share the screen with me, they have a lot of nostalgia with how well these Bills have been playing through the first almost month of the season now. And with that being said, I have to know, you said you like the over in this game, and if I remember correctly, that's about what, 52.5, right?
Yes.
Okay, so 52.5. So you think it's going to be a shootout? You think it's going to be a high-scoring game? What is your score prediction for this Bills versus Raiders matchup?
Oh, I'll be real honest with you. Out of ethical situations, when it comes to the Golden Knights, UNLV, or now the Raiders, I'll never predict a final score or a winning of a game because I'm actually writing the story. I'm actually writing for the Associated Press, which is going on the national wire. So to predict, what I will say is this: it will not surprise me if either team is winning by 2 or 3 points and it comes down to the last team holding the ball. I will say that. That's how close I think it. Yes, I think it could be that. I think it could be 31-28, and one of those two teams that's holding the ball has 28, and it comes down to a defensive stand or not. I think it could be like that. Who I think's going to win? I can't say. I can say this: if the Raiders secondary and their patchwork defense doesn't hold up, I think Josh Allen's going to have a field day. But if the Bills defense turns out to be a fraud because they haven't necessarily played a decent passing game yet, I think that I think the Raiders can win this game. I just think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think it'll come down to, or it very well could come down to, the team that's holding the ball last.
Just cover the over, man. No matter what, I don't care.
Just cover the over. Just throw that total in the 60s, and we're good to go.
Yes, sir.
Well, Willie, thank you for the time that you've given us tonight. You provided a ton of insight on the Bills matchup this week. Can you please tell the people where they can find you and what they can look forward to when they do?
I'm on Twitter at Willie G Ramirez, WILLIEG Ramirez, and I just did a relaunch of my website, my personal website, WGRamirez.com this morning. Been working on it throughout quarantine, and I have 2 very intriguing stories up there right now, part of the relaunch. One of them takes you through the 33, not through all 33 years, but it talks about why the Black Lives Matter movement is very close and personal to me, because the first 8 years of my career, I learned the business with the state's only black newspaper. My best friends at the time, as I mentioned earlier, their family founded it, and that's where I got my start. I mean, through the Rodney King riots, being a distributor and rolling through the West Side with the papers every Thursday, and I talked to Jamel Hill, renowned journalist Jamel Hill, and I was talking to her just in general about my experiences and letting her sort of explain her thoughts on it. And so she almost narrates the story that I write. And then the accompanying story is on law enforcement and the, good cop versus bad cop versus the Black Lives Matter movement. I spoke to 2 Metropolitan Police officers from Las Vegas, not off the record, but on the condition of anonymity, because obviously they can't speak. One of them on their side, another one telling me an experience with a senior officer one time. There was an incident on the Strip at one of the beach clubs, and the senior officer told this officer, well, they got the call, and they said, well, I guess we got to go snatch up some BMs by their cornrows. So, I mean, I have some on the record talk from Metro officers, and those are the two. I'm trying to do something monthly with that. Next month it'll be a totally different theme, touching on mental health and suicide awareness. I'm a big mental health advocate. So, anyway, check out my website, WGRamirez.com. I also have something up there on the Las Vegas Aces assistant. The Aces are in the WNBA finals, and follow me on Twitter. And, guys, I'll see you tomorrow on Twitter, and definitely send out some pictures from the Bills Mafia when I see it.
Yeah, we're going to give you that branch back too, baby.
Yes, sir. I want to get back on that branch. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Willie.
All right, take it easy.
See ya.
Willie G, the OG right there, man. Vegas on, man.
Yeah.
He on the Strip. He riding around. He big pimping right now. He driving around in town. I'm about to go eat with Pesci and De Niro. We had a computer virus, huh? My guy Levi just popped up in here. Hey, Levi, what's up?
Oh, Levi, you're muted. You're muted. It's all good. He'll be right back.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That computer virus stuff, man. You pop up, pop in, pop out.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the Bills in the third quarter, man. This season, pop
It's kind
in.
of it's
Pop
kind of like Brian Dable in to throw out games in his whole career. But
Ooh, you know what? I've been easy on it, but I see you ain't letting him breathe. You ain't been
I
letting
don't.
Dable breathe.
You got to be pragmatic, Mookie. If there's something bad about the team, I'm not going to not talk about it. Right? I mean, with as good as everything, well, I can't say everything, but only good thing I can say is hopefully we can get Levi in here because he just popped in.
Right, he just popped in.
One second.
I don't
But
think
yeah,
they have.
I want to know from you, Mookie, what were your thoughts on the Quentin Spain ordeal? Because I haven't talked to you about it yet. I'm sure everybody's interested to hear what you have to say. What the hell is going on with the Quentin Spain situation?
Well, you know what's going on with the Quentin Spain situation is that we have a coach that don't care how much money you're getting paid. If you're not prepared to play, or if a guy is playing better than you, you know, this is drumline around here. I'm going to play that player that's, you know, more prepared to play. You know, his mindset. To me personally, I think that Spain lost too much weight. You know what I mean? He looks good. Don't get me wrong. He looks damn good. But I think he lost too much weight. You know, when you lose too much weight, you might lose that leverage. You know what I mean? You lose that butt to sit down and anchor and move, and, you know, to hold things together. I think he just lost a little bit too much weight. And, you know, then you still feel people got to get in game playing shape. You know, people has not game reps and practice reps are totally different. So, you know, they're learning and getting in the swing of things. And I think that right now, Coach McDermott is really evaluating it that way, just tinkering with different lineups. And any event that, you know, a guy goes down, you know, it's not new to these guys. You know, they've been out there. So we have to wait till Feliciano gets back. You know, you really see the tell of the tape. The way Durrell Williams has been playing at right tackle. If Feliciano comes back, what's going to happen? Like, is Cody Ford the odd man out, or do Spain, you know, still is in the rotation? How that work? But whatever they did, you know, they were able to get the victory. So, you know, that, I mean, you could say that's not good on Quentin Spain's behalf because, you know, they end up winning the game, and, you know, Aaron Donald was pretty much extinct in that first half. I think he was on the bus. I think he did stay on the bus, like Dable said. But that second half, he made his presence felt like he was out there for 4 quarters. So, you know, jury's still on out with that. We're gonna see tomorrow who's starting up front for the Bills.
Mookie. Clayton puts it right on a tee for you, and you didn't not even smash it out of the park. I mean, you have been saying for multiple weeks now, and I know this because I got a pretty decent memory. I know I'm old, but I got a pretty decent memory. You said that because there was no preseason, that a lot of teams are treating the first 4 games of the year like the preseason. Could it be? I'm just saying. Could it be that they're? I mean, we're not talking. Spain didn't lose 150 pounds. He's not going to lose that kind of base in that, but he did lose weight. I understand that. Mm-hmm. Could it be that the Buffalo Bills, realizing and to your point about the preseason, are trying to move some guys around just in case injuries do pop up, that they're going to be covered in that scenario? Or like, okay, we're going to try the big dog over at left guard now. We know what you can do. You don't give up a sack ever. So let's we know what you can do. Let's see how he does over there against Aaron Donald. What better test to give the kid? Right. And then he went through everything, and then things happened to play out. But I think when you started to get, maybe if you were in the flow of the game too, you can't just, to your point, you can't just insert him back in there and then put 4 on the right side. It would have messed up the chemistry of the line that's been playing the entire game. So could it be that type of scenario though?
It could be that type of scenario, but, you know, you have to stay tuned. One thing I can say, you know, Coach McDermott is doing a good job with this. And we got if y'all don't, just in case y'all didn't know, we got a real ass coach going on right here. And he is coaching his ass off. He is real careful and cautious on how he really evaluates this team. I mean, who's to say Quentin Spain might say some of the wrong things, you know what I mean, in practice? You don't know. All right, well, then get your ass out of here. We're going to put Brian Winters in here. You never know, you know what I mean? But we're going to see, you know, what's going to be the lineup. Because you got to look at this too, Mario. How long did it take him really to find a right guard? How long did it take him to name a starter at right guard? You know, on the depth chart, you got three guys named there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I think that's more of a cat and mouse game that he's playing with everybody else.
But he's good with that.
It was funny because 999 said it in the YouTube chat, and if you guys aren't following Nicole Front on YouTube, make sure you're doing that. He says, do you think Spain will take it personally and develop an attitude over this? Two things. Number one, Spain was signed rather late, very late in the free agency period by the Buffalo Bills to a 1-year deal, and then he got his deal. So I don't think he's going to be upset really about anything right now because he got what he was looking for as far as his deal, he got a three-year deal. So I don't think he's one of those guys, and McDermott and Bean are really cautious. They don't go after those types of guys that would, if you sit them down, they're going to develop an attitude issue. It doesn't seem like that from my standpoint. I mean, I don't know Spain personally, but just going on reports and how the guy's carried himself, I don't think that's specifically the case in that respect.
Oh, so. No, dog, it's dog eats dog. He understands. You know, I mean, this is not like, you know, he just started playing football. You know, it's competition. Every day, you know, you wake up and, you know, hey, you might not be feeling it. You might not be bringing it that week. You know, who knows? But I don't think it's more of a doghouse situation. I think it's just, in the words, I guess, how Bill Belichick say all the time, well, we're just playing the best players that give us the opportunity to win. Did I do my best, you know, impersonation of him? They're the best players. Players out there.
We're going to be on to Cincinnati, and we're going to try to play, and that's how we're going to do it.
Right.
It's funny too because I mean, looking at the offensive line and looking at the one thing that was very poignant in what Willie said about Gruden, you know, do we forget that he took Tony Dungy's team to the Super Bowl when he won it, when he got his ring? He won it. He got a ring. I understand it. Rob Johnson has a ring, which makes every Bills fan annoyed at that point because he was the backup on that team. But when he finally started to get his players in there, it didn't seem like. Do I think Gruden's a good coach? I think he's a good coach, but to put him in the upper echelon of coaches in the NFL, I wouldn't do that. I don't know if you guys would. Clayton, do you put him up there? Mookie, do you put him up there? Where do you put him?
I wasn't alive when John Gruden had his best days as a coach, so I largely know him as an ESPN analyst. And I tend to agree. I tend to feel a little more so because through my year, well, it's not many years, but when I first started to be able to understand a little bit about football, there was the one team that I believe you can really compare him to, and obviously longevity, they're not comparable. Mike Tomlin, when he took over Bill Cowher's team and they won a Super Bowl. That's one situation that's fairly comparable. Back then, when you look at those two instances in themselves, Mike Tomlin winning a Super Bowl with a team that he did not build, and John Gruden winning a Super Bowl with a team that he did not build. Okay, those are two, in my mind, unproven coaches that managed to fall into an ideal situation with ideal personnel that they didn't need to scrap together and accumulate to build what was ultimately a Super Bowl team. So really, that's kind of how I feel about it. Obviously, Mike Tomlin has longevity in this league. He has the long-term success. He has sustained success. And now John Gruden, you know, he had those successful years all those years ago, but that's all those years ago. The league evolves. Players evolve. Skill sets evolve. What you look for in certain positions evolves. So really, this is more of a testament. This whole stint, this whole 10-year contract with the Raiders is more of a test for Gruden to see, have you evolved, or are you still stuck in where we left you? Are you still stuck back then, or have you moved into the NFL offenses now? And I feel like Gruden has done a good job acclimating to what the NFL nowadays looks for and does. And I think he did a great job hiring Mike Mayock. And I love what they're building over in Las Vegas. But I just, right now specifically, I don't feel like it's a good football team. They're not where they need to be right now. I feel like in a year or two, this is a really good football team that people are going to be worried about contending for conference titles. But the division that they're in, where they are as in the state of a football team, I don't think they're that good right now, especially with the injuries.
Yeah, Mookie will get this before I kick it to Mookie. You won't get it because you just mentioned your age, and I was telling everybody in the chat how old you were, so you won't get this. Mookie will get this. Every time someone tries to bring up John Gruden's ring to me, I immediately think of Barry Switzer.
How about the Cowboys, Jerry? Yeah. We did it, Jerry. Jerry, we did
it. When he brought Jimmy Johnson's recruited players and won a Super Bowl with them, that's what I think of when I think of Gruden's ring. When people try to mention Gruden's ring, that's what I immediately go to those Dallas Cowboy teams that Jimmy Johnson built from the foundation and then just left abruptly, and Switzer was there and he ended up winning a ring. So, okay, it really wasn't your squad that won that, if you want to get technical here.
He got a leftover ring.
It still sells.
Yes, sir.
It was warm when he got it.
He definitely got a leftover ring. And I mean, hey, let's keep everything a buck. John Gruden did too. I mean, Only argument you can say is the team that he left went to the Super Bowl and played against him. That's the only argument you can say about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
He
how good
left
was
the
that
team,
squad?
And they went to the Super Bowl to play against him. So that's the only argument you got about that. But he knew which team was going to win the Super Bowl because Tampa had defense. Raiders had an old-ass Jerry Rice and Tim Brown, and that was it. You know what I mean? So he knew who was going to win the Super Bowl between the two, so he chose Tampa. Good move.
So, Mookie, if you said 1 to 10, I'm sorry, Clayton, I just trampled all over you there. I apologize.
No, you didn't trample over anything.
You say 1 to 10, your concern. I'm not talking offense. I'm not talking defense. I'm talking overall. Your concern, Bills traveling to Vegas and taking on the Raiders tomorrow. What's your concern, level 1 to 10?
I just hope nobody catch COVID first. Man, you know what I mean? Man, for real. Like, it's just, I mean, let's not hope this charity event don't turn into, somebody on the reserve list. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's always great to do things for charity. Absolutely. I'm all for it. But let's be smart on what's at stake here. Let's be a little bit more mindful. Let's think about other people, as well. So, I mean, it's just so simple just to put a mask on. If just be responsible enough to put a mask on at the charity event, none of this will happen. They won't say anything. It wouldn't have made big news. So that's one of my biggest concerns because as, Willie G. O.G. was just talking about how, the Raiders got to play these two up-and-coming opponents. And guess what? So do the Bills. Back-to-back Tennessee, back-to-back Kansas City. And, they are like in the line of damn fire right now because Tennessee has the issue, right now. And then New England is playing Kansas City. And, it's all full circle. So it's coming at the Bills both ways. To be honest, after this game right here, it might be a league quarantine for 2 weeks. If I'm Coach McDermott, I'll be like, look, you got to test 2 weeks. I'm not sure I would want my team to participate. I mean, if you want to forfeit the game or whatever, it's just that I don't feel safe as a coach to bring my players, in that realm of thing. I mean, me being a coach, I wouldn't feel, it would be irresponsible for me to, say, okay, let's play. And, it's rules and protocols in place that's been violated, so stay tuned on that one. So that's my biggest concern, from that standpoint. From a football perspective, my biggest concern is run game. I want to see balance. I want to see a little bit more balance going into week 4. Let's get the motor going. The past 2 games, he's been averaging his normal 5 yards a crack. Whether you give him the ball 1 time or you give him the ball 10 times, he's averaging 5 yards a crack. More touches for the motor, please, today. That's my biggest concern. Get the motor out the garage. Get them young man going, man.
Out the garage? They haven't put it in the car yet, Mook. They haven't even put it in the car.
Yeah, Motor saw a huge uptake in at least offensive plays where he was in there, and I think his dynamics of the run and pass game really were showcased against the Rams, and it's a stark difference to the Raiders in the fact that Jacobs, can he catch the ball? He's not really known for it. They're usually using Richard for that, and you saw a significant drop in Jacobs' offensive snaps last week when they were losing. So coming to my first huge point of this is that the Bills get up early. You want to talk about one way to neutralize Josh Jacobs? You get up early. You get up early on this team because Gruden, as Clayton said on the roundtable, he's not going to be as patient as McVay. He won't. So, I just don't. If you get up early on the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, you neutralize Jacobs with your offense instead of your defense in that respect.
And when Willie was on the show, I kind of felt like he said something that I kind of agreed with, and he felt like that the Bills were going to go in there and start having a tempo with the Raiders and try and get them on their heels early. And I feel like that kind of plan of attack is kind of an attack that's going to be successful against this team because if the Bills go up 28-3 on this Raider team like they did the Rams last week, it's not going to be the same story. And this is what Mario was alluding to of what I said on the roundtable earlier this week on #sports. If you're not subscribed to their YouTube channel, go ahead and do that right now. But what I had said on the roundtable was last week when you saw Sean McVay get down in the game, when you saw Sean McVay fall back 28-3 to the Bills early or late in that game, oh man, he's still having issues with his camera and microphone. I'm not sure what's going on, but now we got Levi. I'll cut my point off because we've been trying to get Levi in here for the last 20 minutes. Levi Edwards, the digital reporter for the Las Vegas Raiders. Levi, how you doing tonight, man? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing good. I'm sorry about those technical difficulties. It said I was backstage, and I didn't know if I was going to get let in. I'm sorry about all that, but you guys making some pretty good points while I was listening. So, I appreciate being here.
Right, man. I mean, so everybody in the car.
Welcome, Levi.
Everybody got going in the car. Everybody driving around.
I was handling a little business today, so I had to take care of a couple of things. So I've been on the move. I'm not too far away from the Strip. I'm on South Las Vegas Boulevard right now, so not too far from the Strip at all.
All right, man. So, all right, the biggest elephant in the room, man, is this charity event we was just talking about. I mean, what's your take on what transpired with this charity event? And are the Raiders in trouble about that?
I believe. I'm sorry about that. I believe.
I mean, it could be G14 classified. You could be G14 classified.
I think the horn said it all.
Yeah, the horn said it all. I believe that definitely it was. They, of course, made their statements on it. Of course, it was a fundraiser for a very good cause. Darren Waller, who has had his problems with substance abuse in the past, he decided to do this fundraiser, and it was all in good spirit. And they raised about $300,000 for the event, which is very good. Of course, they should have been masked. Of course, they gave out their reasoning for why they weren't. It was just a very brief moment in time where they were recorded without their mask on, so they could let the people at the fundraiser see who they were if they were entering. Mm-hmm. So of course, the things that do get recorded are the things that are frowned upon, and the things that weren't recorded, is them taking proper precautions throughout the event. Of course, they already apologized for it. They already said that it wasn't the right thing to do. So I think I will just kind of stand by the same point that they've already made in terms of Coach Gruden and Derek Carr earlier today. And they realized that what they did was not the greatest thing in the world. However, they did take the best precautions that they could have during certain times at the event. And so right now it's just we just got caught with our hand in the cookie jar. That's really the only best way to put it.
Hey, man, like all them cookies, man. All them cookies. 300,000 worth of those cookies. Jeez. Lord. Good gracious.
Now, Levi, this Raiders offense, they've been really good, but the defense has almost just been just as bad because they've been putting up their points. They've been putting up plenty of points, but they're allowing over 30 points per game on the defensive side of the ball. With that being said, not to mention the injuries that have accumulated over the past week with David Arnett going down, how do you feel about this Raiders defense matching up against what has been one of the best air attacks in the NFL the last 3 weeks with Josh Allen and his three receivers?
Something that they've definitely done that, of course, it's one of those things where it's the nature of the beast. You guys, I heard you guys talking earlier about there being no training camp and everybody just getting in reps right now. So, of course, a lot of people haven't got those real life reps, and it's different, when you're at practice doing things and you actually have to play games. Mm-hmm. So they didn't really get the necessary preseason, necessary scrimmages with other teams, things of that nature. So it's just really hard to get your body acclimated to playing in the game when you haven't played in the game so long. So that's the reason why we've had so many injuries, and there's been so many other injuries around the league so far. Our offense, I would definitely say, is very dynamic. Even though we had a couple of really key offensive linemen go down, their backups have been able to come in and perform just as well. you know, you have Ruggs and you have Edwards who's going to be out, and those are huge pieces. But I feel that we have a couple of other receivers that can step up. Renfro has definitely shown that he can step up. Zay Jones, who was a former Bill, I think he's got a couple of tricks up his sleeve against a couple of your defensive backs that'll definitely help us out. For a while, Zay was one of the best receivers you guys had, so I definitely think he'll be able to step up. He's proven so far this year he's been able to step up, even though he hasn't had a lot of catches. When he has caught the ball, he's done pretty dynamic things for our offense. As for our defense, yeah, I'll go out and say our defense is a little suspect, but it's not one of those things where I feel like we're not talented. I feel like we've just been making mental mistakes as a young defense, and we're getting Kwiatkowski back with no setback. So Kwiatkowski's a big piece that's going to really be able to step up. We paid a lot of money for that man, and I really think that he's going to come through big. He's able to suit up on Sunday.
Nick K's in the building. So, yeah, we getting to the inside scoop, man. Nick K might suit up. So, you know, we got to create that matchup for him. We know with our tight ends, you know, Dawson Knox will be suiting up tomorrow. You know, we got Josh Norman back in the sauce. So, you know, quarterback play. I mean, how do you compare Derek's Carp, you know, how he's playing so far this season compared to last season?
Honestly, I think last year Derek Carr had one of the more underrated seasons that you could see from a quarterback. He threw for about 60-70% completion rate. Threw a lot more touchdowns than he did interceptions. He hasn't thrown an interception yet this whole season. So he's been really accurate with the ball, been pretty accurate last year. I just feel like last year the Raiders had a really tough stretch down the road. And so they lost, you know, we lost some games that we shouldn't have, but at the end of the day, I feel like Derek Carr's had a really good season, and I think that he's still improving, and I feel like he's been able to take a really young group around him and do that. And I actually feel like it's really interesting. I was saying something on Silver and Black Radio, just kind of about the similarities between Josh Allen and Derek Carr coming out of college, just because Josh Allen was this guy from the Mountain West Conference out of Wyoming, and everybody's like, okay, well, who the hell is this kid from Wyoming? And, you know, he had all of the stats, he had the measurements, he had everything that you want out of a quarterback, but everybody was like, okay, well, this guy was doing it against, you know, non-Power 5 guys. But when you see him play, you knew Josh Allen was going to be a beast out of Wyoming. Like, I just knew that. Same way with Derek Carr when he was coming out of Fresno. Like, I knew Derek was going to be a star coming out of Fresno. He proved it. You saw it, despite whatever competition he played. So I really feel like, even though, you know, they might not have the same game, they might not have the same play style, but I definitely see the same drive and competitiveness from both guys. And so I feel like it'll be a lot more of a quarterback duel than what people think. Just because Josh Allen's had a really good month, you know, I feel like Derek can pack that thing too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of bullets in that clip, man. A lot of bullets in that clip for this shootout. You know.
So, I mean? Oh, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You know me. I'm just talking my stuff, Clay. You know, I'm in tailgate mode right now. You know what I mean? So,
guys, something. What do you think with Ruggs and with Edwards being out? What would you say is the biggest threat at the receiver?
Wide receiver or pass catching target?
Like, who do you think will be our number one receiver? Like, in terms of like who Carr will go to the most. Take out Waller. He's a tight end. You already know we're going to be looking for him. Out of the receiving core, who do you think will be the most troublesome for that secondary?
I think it's easily going to be Hunter Renfrow, because Teron Johnson has looked like hot shit these last 3 weeks, to put it bluntly. He has looked absolutely awful his first 3 weeks of this season. The way it's been for Teron Johnson, he's an incredibly aggressive football player. He can aid in the run game. He's great in that facet. Anytime he's moving forward, he's a great football player. Just in coverage, he's been lacking these last 3 weeks. You know, Isaiah Ford for the Dolphins gave him troubles. Jamison Crowder for the Jets gave him troubles in the first week, and then last week we saw the Rams just go at Teron Johnson the whole game. So I feel like if it weren't Waller, then Hunter Renfrow is definitely the biggest target that the Bills have to focus in on the defensive side of the ball, simply because Teron Johnson could use a lot of assistance with Hunter Renfrow, as he's developed into a nice player for you guys. He's efficient. When Derek Carr looks his way, he's done a good job of getting open. He's everything you look for in a modern slot receiver in the NFL. And I think if you guys find any kind of mismatch on the Bills defense, I feel like that's the one that they're going to key in on the most in the passing game.
Mario?
And because of that, it's going to be Nelson Aguilar. I think will make the biggest impact on the game, because you look at, I look at it this way. Aguilar, he played 19% of the snaps in the first two games, and then he just jumped up to 85%. And I think with in the third game, and as they were losing. So being it that I think this is going to be such a shootout, and I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game, I think Aguilar is probably going to be one of those guys you're going to go to. Obviously, everyone in the chat and the YouTube chat is talking about, Zay Jones revenge game. He's going to be coming out. I'm not really worried about Zay Jones that much. Renfrow does pose a problem in the slot for Taron Johnson, but with the return of Norman, it's going to be very, very interesting. Funny enough, Bryan Edwards is the one guy that's leading the Raiders in snap counts. So if they want to be a power run team, the vintage West Coast team that John Gruden wants them to be, the guy that's going to be on the field the most is usually that guy that's going to have the most opportunities as far as that goes. So Edwards being on the field just as much, being more than anybody else, he could be a sleeper in that. I don't know. Is he ruled in? Is he out? I knew he was hurt. I knew he was battling something though. I don't know what was going on with him.
Edwards, he's dealing with a knee injury. He had this killer reception against the Patriots last week, and it was really something that was helping us get momentum in the second half. And then he went upfield for about 20-30 yards, and then he went out with a knee injury, and he's been dealing with that. So he's been ruled out. So I think Edwards is probably I feel like when it comes to potential, everybody talks about Ruggs because Ruggs, he has that speed, but I think Edwards is going to come through really big just down the road as a receiver. But I really liked, for me, I definitely think Aguilar, not trying to, throw out any secrets or anything, but I have a feeling that Aguilar is going to be heavily involved within this game just because he has that veteran experience and he's done really good things. I feel like he's one of those guys that, I feel like he proved himself to a degree in Philadelphia, and he's done a really good job of really getting the team behind him because we have just a lot of young receivers. I feel like he is our youngest. I feel like he is our oldest receiver on the team, and he's only 28, 29 years old. So it's just a very young group, and he's just been doing a really good job with that. And he'll come through really big. Someone who I kind of want to talk about because I'm not sure how the media is in Buffalo when it comes to this man, but someone that I'm really concerned about from the Bills that no one here has mentioned is Devin Singletary. And you guys talk about the Raiders defense being suspect, and when it comes to our secondary, I feel like Abram has, stepped up and shown that he can do some things. Same thing with Mullen. Same thing with Joyner at times. It's just our run defense for some reason just isn't clicking. And it hasn't clicked. Didn't click against the Patriots. It didn't click against the Panthers with McCaffrey, and it didn't click against Kamara. So despite our wins or our losses or successes, our run defense has just been very suspect, to say the least. And I'm scared that Devin Singletary, if we give him the chance to really run a field on us, he's very versatile. He can pass catch. I'm more nervous about Devin Singletary going into this game, honestly, than I am even Stephon Diggs, just because that's my biggest fear within our defense is the run game. And I feel that even though he doesn't have that big time name like McCaffrey or Kamara, he can get it done. We gave up almost 100 yards to an undrafted Arizona rookie last week. So and Sony Michel, who's a boss, we gave up a lot of yards to him. So I feel like Devin Singletary, if we don't get it together, I feel like he's going to be poised for a very big game.
Yeah, and like I just said that point, we got to get the motor going. He has been averaging 5 and a half yards a crack, so we definitely got to get him going. I mean, that's the only thing that's left seen in this offense. It's great to see Josh putting up those great numbers, him thriving as a quarterback, but let's give it a little bit more balance with Devin. And to answer your last question, I do think that the Raiders are going to go into Zay Jones to make sure everybody knows that they got the better of that deal, and they're going to try to get Zay Jones going. They're going to be moving him around in motion, and trying to create some matchups, try to get him locked on Teron Johnson, because Zay Jones is truthfully really a slot guy. He's not really an outside guy. But hey, I mess with Zay. He's my guy. We had some great times here in Buffalo. He did well for the community, so I definitely rock with Zay Jones. So I think that they're going to try to get push the envelope a little bit with Zay Jones to get him going, because we don't want to. They don't want to just give us Hunter Renfrow right off the rip. We know Nelson Aguilar can stretch it with his speed. So you got to get Zay Jones involved, especially with those injuries with Ruggs and Jalen Edwards. I mean, and don't forget about the Gallagher guy, but I think that they're definitely going to cater to Zay Jones and get him involved a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah. I think I kind of share Levi's sentiment only for the Bills defense as to my concern for the Bills run defense going up against Josh Jacobs. Because Josh Jacobs, even though he's only a second-year player in this league, he's easily one of the two best running backs in the AFC. Easily. And he's in the conversation. What was that?
It's a roll tide.
Yeah, roll tide, Drew. Roll tide.
Roll tide, baby.
But anyways, Josh Jacobs going up against this Bills defense that I don't know if you know this, Levi, but the Bills' run defense has really kind of been the bugaboo ever since Sean McDermott has taken over the defensive or the taken over as Bills head coach. So it came up last year, midway through the season when they played Cleveland, when they played Philly, and now through the first two of the last three games, they've had struggles against the runs. Obviously, they stopped it against the Jets. Who are the Jets? The Jets are essentially a glorified SEC team at this point, and they struggled against the Dolphins at parts in the second half of stopping the run. And then in last week against the Rams, it just got full-blown taken advantage of. Darrell Henderson had a career day against the Bills, and really that's what catapulted that Rams offense into coming back from that 28-3 deficit was their run game and sticking to the solid game plan, sticking to what they do best. They were getting 6.5, 7.5 yards per carry against this Bills defense. And what I see with that Raiders offensive line, even though they have a few injuries, even though they're starting rookie John Simpson, I believe they have Sam Young back at right tackle to replace Trent Brown this week, correct?
No, it's Denzel Good, isn't it?
No, I'm not sure about Trent's status on right now. We haven't. Right now, he's still listed as doubtful. Sam Young could definitely potentially play.
Is it well? If say Trent Brown weren't to play the game, who's the backup? Is it either Denzel Good or Sam Young? Because I know Denzel Good was in there because Sam Young was hurt, but Sam Young's no longer on the injury report.
Yes, so Sam Young will probably get some action. I'm not exactly sure if he'll start. I'm not sure if he's going to split with Good, but as of right now, I do know that Sam Young will be able to see some time tomorrow, hindering any setbacks between now and a couple of hours from now. Same thing with Kwiatkowski. Kwiatkowski is another one of those guys, so I believe Sam Young should be starting.
Okay, but that's still a very solid offensive line with Gabe Jackson and Rodney Hudson along the interior. They've had those two guys there forever, and that is definitely concerning to me. Seeing how that Rams offensive line absolutely mauled the Bills along the interior last week. Do you feel like if the Raiders have an advantage on their offensive side of the ball, do you think that lies in the running game? Did we lose him?
There we go.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
I feel that Josh Jacobs is going to eat no matter what. I feel like we built this huge offensive line around not only him, but around Derek Carr. And that's why, Derek Carr, he's been able to make these really, good plays, be able to, make smart plays because he has a lot of time in the pocket. He really hasn't seen a lot of pressure the past couple of games. And no matter who goes down, like we just stay up. So I feel like Josh Jacobs' success is dependent on that offensive line, but at the same time, Josh Jacobs is that good of a running back regardless. So I feel the injuries won't affect him at all. I feel that John Simpson, he's coming in as a rookie out of Clemson. I was very high on John Simpson based off his collegiate career. He did a lot of great things at Clemson. on that line. So I feel like even though he is a rookie and he's still trying to get settled in on things, I definitely feel that he is a very adequate backup until Richie comes back. And Sam Young, he's still a very great tackle in his own right behind Trent Brown whenever Trent comes back. I know he's getting closer to being ready, but I don't think he'll be ready tomorrow. I think Josh Jacobs is going to eat no matter what. I feel that we're going to feed him early and often. And I feel that if our offensive line does have any sort of deficiencies throughout the game, I feel like we're going to continue to feed him because he's just a hard runner and he's going to be able to find his holes and find his gaps and get through and really cause havoc for the run defense. And of course, you were kind of saying the Bills' run defense is a little suspect, and that's kind of like your hindrance. But I feel that he can do that against any run defense because that's just the kind of running back Josh Jacobs is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to chime into that, like, just the whole Vegas thing, Raiders finally being in Vegas. What's that's like been, what has that been for you? What's your experience, with the new Allegiant Stadium, the fan base, just football in Vegas as a whole? How's that been?
It's been great, honestly. It's the thing with the newness is the fact that the organization, even though I am like pretty new, it's one of those things to where it's like everyone is new.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even though I just came into the organization and I've been here for about a month, going on 2 months now. I feel brand new here and everything feels new here, but at the same time, everyone is going through the same thing because even if you've been here for 2 months like me, or if you've been here for 20 years, you're coming from Oakland to here and you have to experience a whole new lifestyle, a whole new fan base. And honestly, I love everything. And of course, COVID has put some limits on what people can do, but it's still popping out here. And like, I love how you go around and you see people like we've only been here for like a year. People's already got the license plates. People already got the merchandise. People are really getting behind the team, and just like they got behind the Golden Knight with their Stanley Cup appearance, people here's been getting behind the Raiders, and that's like my biggest concern about Vegas when I first got here is will this city be able to get behind a professional football team because it just has that mantra and it has that stereotype of being a tourist city, of it just being somewhere, where you have casinos and hotels and shows. But this is a community. This is a city that's really gotten behind the Raiders. I've never seen so many just proud Raiders fans here in Las Vegas after we beat the Saints. So it just feels dope because it's just kind of like I'm new. All of the fans are new. All of my coworkers are coming in with like a new vibe. So I really just dig the city. And it's one of those things to where it's like I came here all the way from Alabama, moved from Vegas after covering Mobile, Alabama, covering Stanford University. And it's just a different kind of vibe, to be honest with you. And I'm very surprised that I haven't got culture shock yet. You know what I mean? People are really inviting. I haven't felt like, of course, there's things that I'm getting acclimated to, but I feel like I haven't lost a step. I feel really comfortable here, and I think the best thing to say regarding just Vegas and regarding the fans, my one of my coworkers, he told me that a saying here is that people in Vegas, the thing about residents here is Vegas will love you if you love Vegas. Like people in Vegas love people that love Vegas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just really trying to embrace everything about the city, really just trying to adjust to the culture, really just show that I'm really about the city, really about the team more than anything. And honestly, it's the same kind of thing with like Buffalo. Buffalo has the most hardcore, badass, like we're with it, we're no matter what kind of fan base, and I respect that. And the Raiders, fan base out here, I've noticed, is very similar to that. Of course, we're not balling at tailgates. We're not over here, crashing through tables. It's not. I haven't seen anything like that. We're not getting that lit, but it's sick, and I can't wait until the stadium opens up because so many people are going to be in there, and there's so many just really sick things in there, and it's gonna be really big once we're actually able to do things at the fullest capacity of what we can do. Sorry for that long-winded ass answer. I'm sorry about that.
No,
that's
you're fine.
man. We got nothing but time. You can talk all the way up to game day, as far as I'm concerned, man, to like 12 o'clock. So I mean, you talk about Sanford and being down there from Alabama, man. Hey, my boy Marcel Darius. I basically lived with him when this time in Buffalo. That's the original Bama boy. So. Just tell us about the journey, man, from you being at Sanford. Did you play there, or you just were just covering there? Just tell us a little bit about the journey.
Well, I was born in Birmingham, but I grew up in Charlotte. So it's kind of funny because growing up in Charlotte, I didn't realize how big of a city Charlotte was. You know what I mean? Kind of like you have people that always try to complain about where they're at or where they're from, and then they have to leave and go somewhere else, and they'll be like, man, that was crazy. Like, Charlotte was actually a really nice city. Charlotte was dope. Like, there's so many things about it, So I got a little bit of culture shock going back from Charlotte to Birmingham because I decided to go to Sanford. I didn't play there. I just decided to go to school there. I just really I love the people in their journalism programs. That's where I want to go. I met some really good friends there. Met some really good mentors, people that I'm very close with, and it's SEC country down there. Let me just put it like this: Tua was a professional quarterback before he was a professional quarterback, and so you know what I mean. It's like down there, we treat Alabama, we treat Auburn like their NFL team.
Yeah.
The coverage from the media coverage to the fans to everything. It's almost like they're living NFL lives while they're still. It's kind of like if you guys watch the 30 for 30 on the U, and Michael Irvin was talking about getting in the clubs, and he'd see Dolphins in line waiting while he's getting into the club before the Dolphins. And that's just kind of like that lifestyle that college football has in Alabama. So it was so much fun just covering it. Just because even though I was at Sanford, we did a lot of stuff not only at Sanford but just around the state. So covering college football in Alabama is insane. And it definitely got me prepared for where I'm at now in Vegas. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, well, life is a lot different down here in Birmingham. Now I'm about to go out west. This opportunity came along, and I was just very blessed with the opportunity to be brought into such a first-class organization. So I'm over here thinking to myself, okay, well, I don't want to be Mr. Country Bumpkin going from Alabama all the way to Vegas. I got to go out here and I got to prove myself, because people already are going to have the stereotypes of what they think about Alabama, and they're going to think about, he's going to be like this and he's going to be like that. He's adjusted. He's used to doing these kind of things. And I really just want to come out here and really just prove myself as a reporter, prove myself as an all-around entity. So I guess in the words of Michael Jordan, it became personal to me. So I love what I do, and I love what I'm doing out here, and I've only gotten nothing but love from the people out here in Vegas. It's really a great city.
So
I can't go down there right now. I should be down there with you.
Nah.
Levi, you kind of alluded to how you felt about Josh Allen coming out of college, how you felt that he kind of had some talent to him, how you feel like that you said he'd be a star in this league. Are you surprised by this start to his third season? Are you surprised that he's got, coming into this season, he had 0 300-yard games. Now, in the last 3 games, he's had 3 consecutive 300-yard games, including a 400-yard performance. He has, 12, 13 total touchdowns so far in his first 3 games, and he's been the sole component that's led this Bills team to a 3-0 record. Are you shocked by the way he has performed here at the start of his 3rd season?
Yes and no. I'm actually surprised that he didn't do it sooner, because when he came into Buffalo, he looked a little suspect at times. He played a little overwhelmed. And I guess when it comes down to it, it was just him still having growing pains. Everybody thinks that now, if you're this big top 10, top 15 draft pick, you're supposed to come into the league and just, immediately affect your team, immediately be the best player ever, be the second coming of Jim Kelly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he didn't do that. And I feel like a lot of people were expecting him to do that. And to a degree, I guess I was kind of expecting that myself, because I had a lot of high expectations for him. So when he didn't do that, a lot of people kind of started to sleep on him. And so now the Bills were like, okay, he's had his ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we know this guy can ball. We're sticking with this guy. Same thing, honestly, what we as an organization has done with Derek Carr. We know this guy can ball. He got us to the playoffs, and he led us to a 12-4 record in 2016. We know this guy can be a franchise quarterback. And I feel like the Bills figured out the same thing about Josh Allen. And they were like, okay, we got our quarterback. Now what can we do to put this quarterback in the best place possible? And then they got him Brown. They got him Diggs. They got him some offensive linemen who can block. They got him a running back who can catch out of the second, who can catch out the backfield and do things. He's got a team around him. And the Raiders now are doing the exact same thing with Derek Carr, where we were trying to, it looked like we were rebuilding, but it really just was us reshaping our team and just adding more youth. And you can see that with us getting Edwards. You can see that with us getting Renfro. You can see that with us getting with Ruggs. And so I'm honestly surprised Josh Allen didn't start doing things earlier. So I will be victim. I will throw my hand up and say, yes, I was one of the people that expected Josh Allen to do things a little sooner, and then kind of slept on him a little bit. And then now, I guess I didn't sleep on him. I was just dozing a little bit. So now I'm woke up. He's doing what I thought he'd be doing. I respect that man. I respect Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is balling right now. To week, everybody kept talking about, Josh Allen has never thrown for 300 yards. Josh Allen has never thrown for 60% of his passes. Now he's doing that. Now all you hear is, it was against the Jets. It was against the Dolphins. They almost lost to the Rams.
The Rams have a really good defense. Aaron Donald, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion, is the best defensive player in the league right now. And Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion, is the best cornerback in the league right now. So, you can't really debate the Rams win. The Rams have I feel like they have a pretty solid defense. He put up 35 on them. So, it's one of those things to where I of course, all I've been hearing this whole week is, are the Bills pretenders? Are they contenders or are they pretenders? You know what I mean? So now it's one of those things to where, of course, I'm pulling, for my boys. I hope the Raiders, can pull it out. But I feel like Josh Allen will continue to put people on notice throughout the season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Bills are a very good team, and I'm going to even quote what my coach John Gruden said on Monday. It's no fluke 3-0, and I agree with Coach Gruden. There's no fluke that the Bills are 3-0 and are looking like to be a good playoff contender.
Appreciate that, Levi. I really do. Come from somebody who's not from Western New York. I appreciate that, Levi.
Mario? That's his game. That's just how it is.
Absolutely, big dog. Absolutely. You
So
got
Levi.
me,
Oh, did you say? Oh, okay. Levi, how are you feeling about this game? You know, I kind of haven't been able to get a good read on if you're overly confident for the Raiders or if you think the Bills might hang 50 on them. What are you feeling? What's your game prediction?
I'm gonna be for real with you, man. I have no game prediction. I just want to see a good competitive game. I just want to see a hard hitting juggernaut of a game. I feel like despite our injuries, I feel like we are going to be able to execute at a high level. And I'm also know that Josh Allen is going to come out and he's going to execute at a high level. So I don't have any prediction per se. I don't want to throw out any numbers. I don't want to throw out any odds or anything like that.
Another shootout.
I just know that it's going to be a shootout. I know that it's going to be a good game, and I'm just really excited to see what happens.
I mean, hey, that's good stuff. I can't blame you for not having predictions because I do them weekly, and I have yet to get any of them right. So I can't blame you at all for not putting your neck out there on the limb for a score prediction. But Levi, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Can you please tell all the people where they can find you and what they have to look forward to when they do?
You can all follow me at the Levi Edwards, THE Levi Edwards, because there's only one true Levi Edwards. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at that handle. If you do, you're gonna get some good content. It doesn't matter if you're a Raiders fan or not. You're gonna get some pretty good content. So make sure you check me out. Make sure you follow me. If you have any questions or if you want to engage in anything, I'm a pretty open book. So definitely just hit me up. I love to talk sports. Passion of mine. If I didn't have the job that I have now, I would still be doing the same kind of stuff. So I'm really just living a dream. So the Levi Edwards. So
yeah,
make sure you hit me up.
Thanks for coming on,
big
Levi.
dog. Appreciate you, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys too.
Levi, man. Hey, man, you know, we got a full show. We went overtime with extra innings. You know what I mean? My man Mario over there thinking about that damn table tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very daunting. It's not as daunting as this influx of Josh Jacobs being unstoppable tomorrow for the Buffalo Bills. And I don't understand this. Now, there's two things here I want you to just kind of keep hold of real quick. Just real quick when you're doing all this stuff, before you go to your game, before you watch it tomorrow, okay? This guy has 68 carries for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. Very impressive numbers until you decide to take a look a little bit deeper, ladies and gentlemen. This guy has 36 of his carries come when the Raiders are in a down and distance that's 10 or more yards. 10 or more yards. He's averaging over 4.3 yards a carry when they have 10 or more yards to go. And he's got more than half of his carries are from when they're it's not manageable. It's like, okay, we're just trying to get some room to punt or trying to get some room to kick a field goal here. That's one. Two is this. Of the 100 passes that good old Derek Carr has thrown, he's completed 74 of them. 74 for 100. Pretty amazing. I love it. Why, if he's such a good runner in Jacobs, why are only 13 of those passes off of play action? You would think if he's such a good runner, it would open up so many things in the pass game. Now, don't think I've lost my mind yet. I know Jacobs is a beast. However, the numbers do not reflect certain items in the game. You look at when he's running and how he's running. In Carolina, they were up 27-15 in the third quarter. He gets a bulk of his carries then. New Orleans, they're up 24-17 in the third quarter. He gets a bulk of his carries then. You look at the New England game, where are his carries when they're losing? Oh, no. So the Bills have two options now to go into this game tomorrow. They can either kick in the front door or they can break a window. And by that, I mean they can kick in the front door. They can try to stop Jacobs. They can just try to stop the run flat out. They could just try to do that, number one. Number two, they could get up by such a margin, break the window. They could get up by such a margin offensively that neutralizes Jacobs in the run game. This guy only has 3 carries on third and more than 4. So we don't want to talk about tendencies on the show. We want to talk about things to look for when you watch the game tomorrow. If the Raiders are in third down and 4 or more, you don't even have to worry about Jacobs. They don't even throw to him either. Like he doesn't even have any receptions. So here's the thing. I know, and everyone's coming in the chat, and I understand this. Jacobs is an absolute beast, but you have to look sometimes past the numbers or through the numbers to see, okay, he's got – people just look at the 252 yards. I understand it. 3 touchdowns, 68. The guy's a monster. But they're in certain spots. And the reason why I do this is this. When C.J. Spiller had his 1,200-yard year, he had 400 yards rushing in the first half of games. He had 800 in the second half. Everyone thought he had a great year. Well, if you guys remember, if you want to dig up those memories, they were losing in the second half of games by more than 14 points a lot. So teams were conceding the run to the Bills. They're like, okay, you want to run Spiller in the second half? You're down 17. Go ahead. We don't care. You're wasting clock. Not our fault. But I think you need to look through that. He's a dynamic player. He's an unbelievable player. Do you have to be concerned about him? Yes. I don't think you need to be concerned about him to the level that most fans are concerned about Josh Jacobs for tomorrow.
So
I'm just saying.
That's my question when I asked, the Raiders averaging 27 points. Is that garbage points, like garbage time points, because you playing from behind and, you got to you 2-minute drilling already in the third quarter to come out of the locker room by halftime. You're in a 2-minute drill because you're already getting blown out. So, that's the big question. The Bills can easily fall into that trap because that's what it possibly has been, but I don't think so. I don't think the Bills get caught off guard. No. And I think you neutralize Jacobs by playing that up-tempo game, putting up points early, putting up points often, and for God's sakes, once keep your foot on the gas. I mean, they do. I mean, and I don't want people to misconstrue this. Okay, if you have a lead and you keep throwing, that doesn't mean your foot's on the gas. Okay, you got to complete those passes to keep your foot on the gas. Otherwise, you're stopping the clock for the opposing team to come back, and that's what happened in the Rams game. People thought they had their foot on the gas, and they weren't executing. I mean, go deep then. I mean, if we let's blow it out the water like you had to come from behind against the Dolphins game. I mean, unleash that thing and just put the nail in the coffin. Let's go deep one time. Let's go some run action. Pull that thing out and just find Diggs or somebody. This one time you up 28-3. We get the ball back. Let's go ahead and stick that ball in there, pull that thing out, and just let it rip one time. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing about the Raiders' offense is that it's very controlled, and I don't want to say pedestrian, but it is kind of pedestrian. Carr is going to stay in his lane. You know what I mean? Jacobs is going to try to pound the rock. Rashard's going to run out in the flat. Renfro's going to run underneath. Waller's going to try to make all these circus catches for you. That's their offense. It's not hard to figure out. However, stopping it is going to be a bit of a challenge for the Buffalo Bills because there's nothing signature that they do. They don't really go deep that much. They really don't. But it's very controlled and it is a very tight box. So you have to try to be efficient within that box. So can the Bills do it tomorrow? I think they have the personnel to. Will they do it? We haven't seen it yet this year. And I mean, it's Clayton calling the Jets an SEC team. I hope you were saying that they're Kentucky of the SEC because that's how bad they are this year.
They look a little more like South Carolina today. Or is that not an SEC team?
Yeah, South Carolina SEC.
They got whipped. My God.
I don't know.
Jets are going to get whipped tomorrow again, too. Oh, no. I'm sorry. They already got their ass whipping out of the way this week. I forgot. I'm sorry.
The one thing I just want to also – I know I'm flying off the handle now.
Well, I mean, you didn't say anything for like a little bit, so it's okay, Mario. You get
I don't think – and then if Bills fans are saying, well, let's just blitz him. Let's just blitz Carr. Let's just blitz him. Let's try to put people in the box and blitz. Derek Carr has he's already completing 74% of his passes. He completes a higher percentage when you blitz him. So he's not stupid. Neither is Gruden. It's a very controlled pedestrian offense that he's going to be executing tomorrow. So, and it's the type of offense that if they get 4 yards on a pass completion, that's something that they want. They're not going. It's not like the Bills stopped them from 4 yards. That's the type of offense that they're running, and that's how they're going to execute. They're going to get you with death of 1,000 paper cuts. That's how that offense operates.
And I think this week, similar to last week, I think this week it's critical that the Bills fix some of their miscues that aren't single-handedly just the running game. They need to fix their fundamental issues, their run reads, their tackling. Things like that need to be cleaned up against a team such as the Raiders, because now you're on the spotlight. After a backup quarterback and then Cam Newton got tested positive for COVID the other day, now you're in the spotlight. Now you're the national team. You're on national television at the 4:25 clock window for CBS tomorrow. So now you have plenty of eyes watching you, and this kind of would fit my definition of a trap game for the Bills if they had anyone that wasn't Sean McDermott as their head coach, because you're going to the West Coast, you're playing a streaky team, but this streaky team, I don't know if they have the dogs to fight this one out with the Bills. I really don't. You're talking about a wide receiver core that consists of Nelson Aguilar, Zay Jones, and Hunter Renfrow. Come on. And you got Josh Norman coming back for his first game as a Bill. I'm not saying, Mario, I see that look. I'm not sleeping on Hunter Renfrow, and I am sleeping on Nelson Aguilar. I think Nelson Aguilar, I just don't think he's much of anything. And I
can understand, because he was drafted by Chip Kelly. I can understand that.
It's not even Chip Kelly. He's just not that good of a wide receiver. You literally have two of the same person on opposite boundaries with Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar, I feel like. And I don't think either of those players match up well with Trey White or Josh Norman. And you can pick your battles against Teron Johnson, but the Bills have plenty good enough personnel, I feel like, to try and hide, to kind of scheme Teron Johnson, to try and hide his deficiencies, if you will. Because this week you're not going up against the Rams where you have to guard Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Darrell Henderson and Tyler Higbee. You're not guarding a litany of weapons. All you have to worry about, really, in my opinion, is Waller and Jacobs. That's all they have, because you're talking about an offense that's missing their top two pieces on the boundary. Yeah. I know it's hard to say the two rookies are their top two pieces, but that's what they drafted them to be. Those are the roles that they earned throughout the preseason, if you can even call it that. But I just don't feel like that this Rams offense has the horses to kind of run with the Bills with this 30 points per game that they've been averaging these first 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think what you talk about the Raiders, I think that's what they've – Ruggs opens up things for you underneath just because of his speed, just because of how dynamic he is. And I understand that. But you got to think, over a 3-game stretch, this guy – I'm talking about Carr, who I'm not particularly high on. I'm not particularly high on Carr. Do I think Goff's better than Carr? I do. But he was still able to manage a 74% completion percentage with the pieces that you mentioned. So in that respect, even though they're not top tier pieces, he was still able to complete passes to those pieces. They beat the Saints. I thought that was pretty impressive. They beat Carolina, which was, the first game of the year on the road, going to the East Coast. And then, and then they end up losing to the Patriots. So it's interesting to see how the Patriots were able to put up 36 points running a similar type system that we're going to see tomorrow. So do the Raiders say to themselves, okay, this is going to be a cash machine today. We're going to try to stop some of the bleeding on defense. We're not going to stop all of it, but we're going to try to put all our eggs in one basket and outscore this team to beat them in the Buffalo Bills. So I don't know if that's going to be their philosophy tomorrow. I don't know. Are they going to try to pound Jacobs and run Jacobs 37 times to try to keep Allen off the field? Well, you know what? As a matter, it'd be a great tool of respect for Josh Allen that teams are already trying to keep that offense off the field. I mean, that would be an amazing sign of respect for that. But I don't know. I expect a high-scoring game, but I just don't think – I think the Bills are going to go down and score in 3 minutes. The Raiders are going to go down and score in 9 minutes, and then our defense is going to get gassed, and then it's going to be a shootout near the end of the game. So,
it's me. It's a dog-eat-dog world. But where I stand, it's just not enough damn dogs. They're just not going to have enough dogs to outwill the Bills to do anything than to bow down early. I think that this plays into the defense hands. I think this is going to be a coming out party for the defense. You know, having Josh Norman out there in that lineup, it's going to probably give this defense a spark that they've been lacking, you know, even last year. You know, the vocal leader is now in the building. All right. We haven't had a boisterous guy on this defense that's just going to talk some shit and man, just going to amp everything up. Josh Norman is that guy. So he's going to bring that energy. He's going to bring that competitiveness, and he's going to be relentless out there. You know, if I looking at how he practiced this week, he's going to be amped up to go out there and make some plays. And I think that, once again, you know, you got Matt Milano for Josh Jacobs. So I don't think Josh Jacobs he's not going to really wow you banging in between the tackles. We got our guy Harrison Phillips. He will be getting the starting nine on that defensive front tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that, because there are, you know, either they are moving around on that, or how they tinkering with the O-line. They're tinkering with that defensive line too. Look for Harrison Phillips to get the start. I don't know who's not starting, but I can tell you, look for Harry. They want to get a full look at Harry tomorrow, so Harry's going to get a little bit more snaps than usual. I'm looking for Horrible Harry to start. I'm looking for Horrible Harry to have a good game. Hey, he played out there on the West Coast at Stanford, so that's your start. You know, they're going to go with those horses. Matt Milano will watch out Josh Jacobs. Maine Savage will be out there going sideline to sideline. I think this is where the defense really get to clicking, getting after quarterback, wreaking havoc, creating some turnovers, because guess what? Derek Carr hasn't thrown any interceptions. My bold prediction, he's going to throw 3 interceptions tomorrow.
Damn it, Mookie. That's the second week in a row someone took my bold prediction.
Oh, interception.
Well, we are playing. We are playing Vegas. Is this going to be the episode where we lay down a few bets on this bad boy, or what?
What kind of bets are we betting? Are we betting, Mario? Because you already shaved your beard. That's the only thing I want to bet with you is a beard and a mustache.
I'm cutting these off, so the bet's
no. We're not doing any physical harm to each other, you know, unless, I mean, that's tomorrow for me. But the point is this. No, we could have some friendly wagers that go on that we tally up throughout the year. We keep our receipts, and then we can do that, and then we can have it on the after show or something, whatever kind of show you guys want to do. We'll collect it at the end of the year. But my point is this: it seems like Mookie's favoring what would you say, a 30-10 game for the Bills? You think they're going to hold that offense in check and keep them down, and then because I'm going shootout. I'm definitely going shootout.
I'm looking for the Bills to put up what they should have been putting up all these damn 3 weeks, 40 points. If Green Bay can put it up 40, we should be able to put up 42. I'm looking for that type of game. I'm looking for the Bills to put it all together, because once the Bills put it all together, they've been averaging 30 points, and it all hasn't been together. All right? You start getting around game 4, 5, and 6. That's when you start seeing chemistry building. That's when you start to see guys gelling. So 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there, I want to see the complete package. I think the Bills go out here and get the job done on offense and defense and special teams tomorrow. 41-17 Bills.
All right. Well, then I'll do this with you, Mookie. I'll raise the bar for you. Okay. Uh-huh. I think it's going to be a shootout. I believe that we'll make the over under 21 just so it's a good for the Raiders. I think they're going to score 28. You think they're going to go score 17. I'm not doing the averages right now. I'm going to say 21 points, 3 touchdowns. Let's do that.
Okay.
If they score over 21, I win. If they score under 21, you win. The loser has to eat chicken wings next week on the tailgate with ranch.
That's it?
That's awful. Are you kidding me? That's sacrilege.
Ew.
That's sacrilege.
What kind of punishment is that?
Well, hey, you want to keep your locks? You gotta have some wings with some ranch.
He said you want to keep your.
That shit sounds foreign as hell.
I had a similar bet. I'm batting 1,000 with this. I did it with Paul. We did a similar bet on hashtag, and he had to eat gas station wings with ranch. I gave him in the car.
That's dirty. Sunoco wings. Damn.
Yep.
You know, Sunoco wings with ranch.
Yes.
So it'd be like that room temperature ranch that they leave out by the counter too.
True story. That's what
Family
happened.
Diner, the Family Diner Ranch.
Yep. And I'll even issue that same bet to Clayton if he wants to do a different type of bet. That same.
Yeah, that's a bet. I can bet that. Just forgive if I lose, fans, forgive me for the ranch. Jeez, that don't even taste right now. I'm just like, just even the thought of it. Ranch.
I really like this matchup for the Bills. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably, going into this game, looking at it from afar, I was kind of nervous about it, but after the accumulation of injuries and just seeing where that team is at and the status of their quote-unquote rebuild since John Gruden has taken over, I just don't think, like I've said before, I just don't think they have the players to match up with the Bills. I think if you have Derek Carr trying to stretch the field on your defense, you're in a winning position. If you can get up on a lead against this team like you did last week, which, we're not going to see them go up 28-3 very often, but if they can get to a 2-possession lead in this game, I think you have that Rams offense in your lap. They're playing into your hand I think John Gruden's going to attempt to stretch the field with this offense, and that's really not their strong suit. That's not what Derek Carr is amazing at. Like Mario said, this offense, when they're humming, when they're at their most efficient peak, is when they're beating you without by 1,000 paper cuts. Those 4-yard routes, they're using their passing game as an extension of the running game. Mario kind of knocks it out of the park with what this offense tries to do. So I think the best thing to do to combat that is to play solid defense. Don't let their offense don't let the running game get any kind of head of steam, and execute on the offensive side of the ball. And that goes for the whole game. I've been saying it every week. I've been waiting all season so far. I'm still waiting to see Brian Daboll coach a full 4 quarters for this football team. Still waiting. But some people want to give this dude $10 million. But what did I know? I'm saying the Bills are going to win this game by 20 points, 27-17. I'm not piggybacking off of Mookie I meant to say 37-17 Bills. So I have the Bills scoring 4 less points than Mookie has them. I have the Rams scoring the same exact amount. But that's what I've been saying since Tuesday. So I'm going to stay consistent.
And let's not forget, they do have Jason Old-ass Witten over there. All right, now he's savvy vet and can get loose. So care to see those 2 tight end matchups. I want to see if they're going to put Darren Waller. Darren Waller is going to be more like a hybrid big slot guy. That's the matchup on Teron Johnson. Everybody's wondering about it. That's going to be the damn matchup. Who's going to be on Waller? Will it be Edmonds? Are they going to catch that? Don't get me wrong. Teron Johnson is going to get the brunt of the work being that nickel guy because pretty much everybody's best guy is that slot. You know what I mean? So he's going to get the brunt of a lot of work. But I think the Bills will be up for the test, tomorrow.
I think Witten is more of a Frank Gore for Singletary.
That's my guy. Did you see Frank Gore out there Thursday night?
Oh boy, I don't want to get into that. That was bad. That was bad.
Can't even pick him on fantasy.
That guy wakes up in the morning, he falls forward 3 yards, a cloud of dust. That guy never goes backwards ever. It's amazing.
He's a gangster now. He's a gangster. I think he's trying to break Barry record and then sit it on down.
I think that the Buffalo Bills will be victorious against the Raiders, and I think it's going to be a 35-31. And I think I'll lead that into my bold prediction. I think that both Carr and Allen are going to throw 4 touchdowns apiece.
That's Super Bowl. That's eating some ranch ball.
That's eating ranch ball. I understand that, but I did pretty good with the Higbee prediction last week, so we'll take that to the bank.
See, that sucks because I thought about a bold prediction I didn't think about it. It didn't take me too long to think about what it was going to be, but once I had it figured out, it was like, all right, that's my lock. And then I come on here and it took 2 minutes.
I got one for you.
Josh Norman gets his first interception as a Bill tomorrow. That's my bold prediction.
I was going to go Jacobs will have less than 60 yards rushing.
I'm not doing that anymore. I said it last week with the Rams that they'd have less than 90, and they practically doubled it. So we're done. We're done.
You can't get the Ghost of Christmas Past can get you, man. Don't worry about that. Just keep shooting. You're Reggie Miller. Just keep shooting till you get hot.
Right. Good shooters keep shooting, Clay.
Why doesn't Brian Daboll keep shooting? Why doesn't Brian Daboll keep shooting?
All right.
I'm going to talk about it.
I didn't get him. I couldn't get him in a room because everybody had their hand raised. I couldn't get him. I still can say that. I got that question still saved for him in the most twisted, greatest of ways of saying it. So I can get it out.
Most respective manner you can come up with.
Yeah. I just was going to come out and be like, yo, at halftime, man, how did you counter someone's counter? You know what I mean? Just like just to get over it. Like, how did you make adjustments at halftime?
So did you say goodbye to Leslie when you left, or did you just leave? Was it one of those deals where you said you were going to the bathroom and didn't come back, or did you just straight up leave?
Me?
No, Dave. Well, halftime. It feels like what he does.
Right. Like, what the hell? Like, dude, you forgot we still have more games to be played out here.
Finished his Coke and left.
There was a
Coca-Cola.
long line at the hot dog stand. He had to. It's pretty weird because there's no fans. I don't know how he has a long line to wait for.
Just keep the tempo going. You come out of that second. If you open the game, 10 personnel, start out that way. You know what I mean? Start out in that same rhythm that got you going. You know what I mean? You want to establish that rhythm right away. And the Bills with this lead stuff that's going on and the lackluster they come out in the third quarter, I don't think it really has anything to do from an X and O standpoint. You know what I mean? Because right now, I mean, the Bills has been dominating going into these locker rooms. So, you know, I just resort back to me, Coach. You know, what the hell do I tell my team after they just put together a beautiful first half? Like, what do you tell them to get them riled up to go out here to finish the job? You know what I mean? And I've been on the other side of those ass whoopings at halftime. You know, so right now I'm just laying on my team. I'm grilling the shit out of them right now just to get them pissed off to come back out here and fight. So to counteract that with my guys having the lead, hey, the coach right now is in that other locker room grilling his guys. They're gonna come out mad, pissed off. You just gotta match the intensity. You know what I mean? I don't think the Bills come out of that locker room fired up. I don't think the Bills come out really trying to take that blow that team is going to give them, because that team's going to come out that locker room and give them their best. You see the Rams come out of that locker room, give them their best. You see Miami come out of that locker room, give them their best. Bills have to match the intensity coming out of it in the second half, and I think that has something to do with the lackluster they suffer in those third quarters. I think it's just an intensity thing, man, because they come in with that lead. And mentally, you got to challenge yourself to act like it's 0-0 on that scoreboard. You know what I mean? So you got to come out and match the intensity. I think the Bills go out and do it and have they had a partial good third quarter last week. Hopefully, they don't have to go through what they went through. Start the third quarter off like how your fourth quarters be. Just flip the quarters, please. We can deal with the craziness in the fourth, but as long as the game is completely put away. All right. Jeez.
Oh boy, lot to unpack tonight. Lot to unpack.
It's been a long show.
It's been like a draft show.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been on a show this long since we were on the draft show at the Rock Sports.
This is like the record. This is the Saturday night tailgate record right here.
With that being said, we've been holding a lot of people the whole time. So I just want to say to the fans, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sticking around this long. Mario from #Sports. Mario, you're getting put through a table tomorrow. Anything else for the people to be looking forward to after that?
Oh, God. #Sports. Paul is actually going to be here at 4 o'clock. We're going to attempt, but because #Sports is the home of technical difficulties, we're going to try to stream the game over on Sportscaster on our sister channel. We're going to try to call the game play-by-play and color commentary. So we're going to try to do that. If we can't, we'll give you live updates on our Twitter. But yes, prior to the post game tomorrow, I unfortunately, due to a previous altercation, will be inoculated into the Bills Mafia officially by being put through a table by Paul, who I outweigh by 100 pounds. So we're going to see how that goes tomorrow.
You're getting baptized tomorrow, huh?
I'm definitely getting baptized. I had to check my health premium to see if it was all right.
Pookie, what do you got going on before the game, after the game? Where can people find you? What do they have to look forward to?
Well, I like to be underneath my rock as much as possible. We'll come out when necessary, all right? But it is game day. It is Sunday, so I'm going to be out. I'm going to be out early. I'll be doing my little morning show in the morning, rising up with my man, the Torch Robinson. Tomorrow, you want to check that out. That starts at 8:30 a.m. prompt. And then other than that, man, I'll be shooting the stuff, man. I'm just be ready to roll for game time. Last minute, anything that's going on that I get from the inside on who's playing, who's starting, Cold Front is going to get that thing right hot off the presser. So make sure y'all tune in to that. Y'all can always catch me at Waffle Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But as far as tomorrow, man, y'all check that Cold Front report. They're going to be getting some exclusive stuff hot off the presses, man. So, I can't wait for game day. It's 4:25 instead of 1 o'clock. So we got them extra 2 hours to deal with. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to enjoy the day tomorrow.
It's going to be weird, man. All those 1 o'clock games kind of suck, too.
They do. I'm like, what the? You can't even place a bet on any one of those.
We're gonna watch Dallas and Cleveland and be thankful, I suppose. Dallas and Cleveland is the best matchup to watch at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and I am upset.
The Ranch Bowl, right, Mario? The Ranch Bowl.
The Ranch Bowl is gonna be fun. 21 points. If they score 20, I'm gonna be so upset. I swear to God. If they get 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh, yeah, I do appreciate all those people that's tuning in, man. I mean, I'm still looking at it now, and they still rocking out with us, man. This is like game day. They just up, can't wait for game day. They rocking out with us, man. So we appreciate everybody, man, that tune in every Saturday night to tailgate with us, man. Here at Cold Front #Waffle Sports, man. We appreciate the love, man. Just continuing, man, enjoying that ride with us, man. Is we just getting started.
We have no Vontae Davis fans in the chat right now. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. When did that come up? I just saw
someone said that I hope Norman doesn't pull a Vontae Davis, but I was just referencing Mookie saying that the fans have stayed with us the entire time in the chat. And so
they still shooting with us, baby. That's what we like.
Absolutely.
Keep rocking out with us.
The best fans in the world. And while you're at it, please make sure to go follow the Cold Front Report on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. That's at Cold Front Report on Twitter, at Cold Front Report _Bills News on Instagram, Cold Front Report Buffalo Bills News on Facebook. And the YouTube channel is just Cold Front Report. Be sure to drop a like on this video while you're at it. And thank you all for watching. Guys, thanks for joining us. It's been a wonderful evening. It's been a late night. Hey, it's going to be a big day tomorrow. We're going to have to wait for what we're going to get, but it's going to be worth our while. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you guys for your time, and have a wonderful evening. Go Bills.
Wash your hands. Mario.